Hey, I've solved my hair problems. Just always wear a hat. Detroit. Okay. Um. All right. So I'm scouring YouTube like I do. I like to watch YouTubes, and other people, have so much to speak into my life. So thank God for YouTube. And I know it's a problem for some people, but whatever. And plus, only one person watches my videos. So whoever you are out there who watch my videos, hey, thanks. Why do I keep making these videos? I don't know. Anyway, maybe God will make it so that people will listen to me and get help, because that's why I'm here. I'm here to help you. So, I like the whole message of the WalkAway movement, uh, which was started by that dude, I don't know, a few years ago. And this is a little late, and it's not a typical WalkAway story, but in my mind, it is. So here it is. I grew up in a upper middle class suburb of Detroit, Michigan, and I hated it, by the way. But anyway, I'm from Birmingham, Michigan. So, um, all public schools usually have a leftist slant. I've personally got a couple teachers in my family. They're both leftists. I mean, they're liberal leftists. I won't call them loonies because they're kind of family, but in my mind, liberal Democrat, leftist Democrats are loony. They're strange. They're out there. I'm not a Republican per se, but I will side, if I have to pick a side, I'll pick Republican because they don't seem quite as bad. They're bad, but not quite as bad. Anyway, so when I was 18, I graduated high school in June of 1984, and I was 18. I had just turned 18 in February. So I was 18 years old, and we used to have speakers come to our school under the auspices of a fund started for a girl who died of cancer in high school. She was a year older than me. I was a junior. She was this little thing where they'd bring people in to speak. I can't remember off the top of my head who else spoke in my time there, but well, maybe she didn't die she must have died not as a senior. I'm sorry, she must have died earlier than that, because there were several speakers in my time there. But anyway, when I was a senior, the speaker was Senator Carl Levin of Michigan. Now, if you're not familiar with Senator Levin, he is as liberal as the day is long, leftist. So is his brother Sander. I think Sander's still in there. He's a representative. And, oh, by the way, Sander Levin doesn't even live in Michigan, yet he's a congressman for Michigan. He lives in Massachusetts, his house. So that's interesting. But anyway, Carl Levin came to speak under this girl's thing. And prior to hearing him speak, I was a product of public schools. From kindergarten to 13 years in the public school system. And my dad, who was very conservative, very, very conservative, he read the Spotlight newspaper, which, if you're not familiar with the Spotlight, it proposes some pretty weird stuff. And I remember looking at it and seeing some stories and thinking, wow, does he really believe this? And I was brainwashed, okay? I was brainwashed in the public school system, and I had become a leftist loony. I mean, my views were weird and to my dad, and I'd give my dad grief about his views. And I could see myself, I also became an atheist when I was 13. I decided I was an atheist. So a couple things there. So being a leftist is really what they try to get you into as a child. And if you don't, have a strong relationship with people who are conservatives when you're young, you will become a leftist loony if you follow the indoctrination of the public school system. And I even had a class. I took a class that you had to be accepted to get in, and it was for, um, I don't want to say it was for smarter people, but I don't know. It was a specialized class. It was called Flex or something like. It was like 3 hours a day, and it covered social studies and some other things. And so I wanted to be in it because I thought, oh, it sounds special. And the people that were in it were weird, and I always didn't fit in. So I got in that class, and it was just, I mean, it was just total leftist indoctrination. I ended up dropping it because I couldn't take it. So this is beginning my awakening. Like, for example, one thing that the teacher said that it really stuck in my head, and I'm like, what? I live in Metro Detroit, and Detroit is what is primarily black. Okay, there's a lot of black people in Detroit. That's no secret. African American, whatever. I'm sorry if I'm offending anyone, but this article in the Detroit Free Press, or it was either the News or the Free Press, I don't know. The teacher said, well, there's this article in the Detroit paper, and it claims that blacks, African Americans, are moving out of Detroit at X amount of miles a year or something, or every 10 years. I forget how it was, like half a mile they're moving north half a mile every so many, I don't forget the time frame. I don't know if it was every year or whatever. And what it means is they're moving out of the city of Detroit, right? And they're moving into the northern suburbs, like Southfield and Oak Park and whatever, the suburbs of Detroit that, are not technically Detroit. So why are they doing that? Well, they're doing that because they don't want crime in their neighborhoods either. They want to get away from crime. Smart people, right? These are smart people. They're moving out of Detroit. And she reads this to us, and she says, this is so racist. And I'm like, what's racist about it? If anything, it's the opposite. It's showing that these people, these African American people, are smart because they're moving out of Detroit. And that was the last straw for me. I couldn't take it anymore. There was only one teacher in the whole thing that I liked, and I took a logic course from him. And I mean, he may have been a leftist loony, but he was teaching us logic, and he didn't really interject anything like this other teacher did, this leftist crap. So that was it. That was the last straw for me. I'm like, it's a statistic. It's a fact. It's not racist. Facts aren't racist, okay? Especially one that paints black people in a light of being smart because they're getting away. They're trying to flee the crime and corruption in Detroit, because at that time Coleman Young was the mayor. And I don't know if you've heard of Coleman Young, but he's got to be one of the most corrupt politicians ever. He was the mayor of Detroit for a long time. So I dropped that class. And then here comes Carl Levin. It's almost the end of the year, and I'm already a little leery about what I'm learning in public schools, and questioning what I'm learning as gospel truth. And he just spoke, and in true fashion, he's spewing his leftist crap. And something just hit me like a ton of bricks. And I hadn't voted yet because I voted that year. I voted for President Reagan. He was running for re-election. So, but this was June, and I voted in November 1984. The first time I ever voted in my life. But Carl Levin's speech just left me cold, and I was like, this doesn't seem right to me. I don't like what he's saying. I can't put my finger on it, but I don't like it. When you're 18 years old, really, you're still a kid, and your brain is even still forming. Your frontal lobe develops till you're 25. So you're basically still a kid, but it didn't seem right. And that really was my walkaway moment. It was like, right, I can still remember it, sitting in I think I was about in the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th row of in the gym when he was speaking. I wasn't too far from him. And I looked at him and I thought, I don't like what he's saying. And he's a Democrat. Okay. So I don't know. I don't know exactly what happened after that. I do know at that point, I kind of threw away all that leftist crap I heard in school. I said, no, I don't want it. It doesn't sound right to me. And I started paying more attention to my dad. And like I said, a few months later, I voted for the first time ever in my life, registered to vote. I'm 18 years old, and I voted for, I'll never forget the first time I voted. I got and that's when we had those booths and you close the curtains. And they don't have those anymore where I vote. And I was looking at all the names and the parties, the Green Party and this party and that party, and I'm like, wow, I got a lot to learn, got a lot to learn. But I cast my vote for Ronald Reagan. And now, I'm not a Republican, and I vote independent sometimes. I vote Libertarian, which I really probably shouldn't do, or I vote U.S. Taxpayers Party, but I never, never vote for a Democrat. Now, if there was a Democrat I liked, like, what's his name? Traficant, I liked him. He's dead, though. He was a smart dude, James Traficant, and he was a Democrat. And there have been Democrats over the years that were okay. But as a whole, the Democrat Party is loony. And as proved out this year, they are insane. And I'm not even going to go there, but that's my walkaway story. I didn't even really get started as a Democrat leftist, really, but I was headed that way. And if I hadn't been awakened at that moment by Carl Levin and his stupid speech, I might have become a Democrat. I don't know. I might be who knows? I might have gone down that trail as a Democrat and then, supported killing babies and gay marriage and whatever Democrats do. Big tax. Raise your taxes. Money. It's like Rush Limbaugh said yesterday. Oh yeah, that's another thing. I found Rush Limbaugh when I was 22 years old, and I had a job, and I was on my lunch break tuning through the radio, and I was getting interested in talk radio because it was not rock and roll, and it was better. And I found Rush Limbaugh. He'd only been on the air like 2 or 3 weeks when I found him back in 1988, and I loved him. And then I found Mark Scott in Detroit, and he was even better than Rush Limbaugh in my mind. He was more radical. But anyway, that's my walkaway moment. And it's not the same as everybody else's because they've been Democrats and they voted Democrat and blah, 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 blah. But to me, it's a walkaway moment because I was headed that way and something turned me around. I think it was God. Anyway, I don't ever think I'd vote Democrat now. Unless somebody rose up in the Democratic ranks that wasn't a total moron. But I doubt you're going to find someone in the Democrat Party that's not pro-abortion. Except there is a local dude here, Doug Spade. He was a Michigan rep in this district, and he is pro-life, but he's a Democrat. He claims there's a lot of pro-life Democrats. I don't know. I find that kind of hard to believe. But anyway, yeah. So it's not good to be a leftist. It's not good to be a socialist. It's not good to be a communist. By the way, Bernie is not a socialist. He's a communist, plain and simple. Let's not mince words here. Bernie Sanders is a communist. And if he were able to take over this country, we would be in deep, 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 deep doo-doo. I don't want to forage in the garbage cans to eat, do you? That's what's going to happen if we become communists like Bernie wants. Lord, just have your way and protect us, Lord. In Jesus' name, protect us from these democrats. I call them democrats. Protect us from this leftist mindset that says government is your God. Bow down to government. Let government take care of you. Nope. Hey, thanks for watching, you one person out there. Thank you, whoever you are. Maybe you hate my guts, I don't know, but I'm thanking you. Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah. Walk away from the Democrats, okay? Don't be a Democrat. It's stupid. It's not right. Can't be a Christian and a Democrat either. You can't. I'm sorry, you can't. You can call yourself a Christian, but how can you be a Christian if you're aligning yourself with people who kill babies? even after they're born. Like Kermit Gosnell and many other abortionists that we don't hear about do this, but Kermit got caught. You can't align yourself with the Democrat Party if you think abortion is evil. So think of that. Alrighty. God bless y'all. Have a wonderful. God bless you, one person. Well, anybody. Who knows? Whatever. Bye. See ya.